Yes, I feel like, Jeff, I can talk to you all day long just about all the excitement from Excel because I love it. I love Excel so much.
Basically, my
But
dad is a CPA, and he has this traditional tax practice. And so growing up, I would go into his office and help him out ever since I was very small.
hello, everyone. I'm so excited that we have a special guest today, Jeff Lenning, a Microsoft Excel MVP, and also the president of Excel Universities. So if you are a CPA, you know that Excel is so important. I'm so passionate about Excel. So I'm very excited for this conversation. So, Jeff, thank you so much for being on my podcast today. First and foremost, can you introduce about yourself to our audience?
Hi, Rosie. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I love talking about Excel and the intersection with accounting and technology. So I'm happy to be here. Yeah, basically, long story short, I'm a traditionally trained CPA, went up through the ranks, Arthur Anderson in terms of public accounting, jumped into industry, and that's where I really discovered the power of Excel and how it can help my career opportunities. And so when I talk to people interested in becoming a CPA or who are currently CPAs or accounting, this is like a very important tool that can really help set you apart from your peers and help you get your work done faster. So glad to be here to talk with you today.
Yes, I feel like, Jeff, I can talk to you all day long just about all the excitement from Excel because I love it. I love Excel so much. But back to this podcast. We would love to learn about your CPA journey. Can you just share with us why you start with the accounting major in college?
Absolutely. It basically, my dad is a CPA, and he has this traditional tax practice. And so growing up, I would go into his office and help him out ever since I was very small. And so I just grew up around that, and I loved what he's doing, helping people prepare their tax returns and save money and that kind of a thing. So I always kind of knew I wanted to follow in those footsteps, and so that's the course that I did. And my journey was a little, like, it wasn't a straight path. I kind of had to find my way. I'm a CPA, but now look at my career. It's helping people learn how to use Excel faster. Like, I don't do any debits, credits, or tax returns. I just help people use Excel. And so that's just kind of where the opportunity is that becoming a CPA can lead you. You can do such a variety of different things with these experiences.
That's interesting that you saw your dad working in tax. Do you see how many hours he put in? Did that affect you to join this profession?
That is a really insightful question. Yes, I did not like tax season, or busy season as it's sometimes called, because he would work a lot and I wouldn't see him very much. And it was really tough. But then, come April 15th, he'd be back. And so it was awesome. But that is definitely a cycle that is kind of tough to manage for anyone in the industry. But in terms of my own personal lifestyle and flexibility now, doing what I do, there's no deadlines, and so it's much more flexible. So I'm very much more suited to this role.
I like it. I would love to go deeper about that lifestyle later in this podcast. But I noticed that you start in audit after you graduate. Now I'm thinking that, is that because you saw your dad doing all those tax work and you say, Dad, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to do tax. I'm going to do audit. Is that the reason why you chose audit?
No, that's so funny that you would ask that. When I was interviewing out of college, or during college, the last semester of college, um, I'm interviewing to these firms, and I put in a request to be on the tax department, actually. And then they didn't have room, so they put me in audit, which was great because I got certified much quicker, because you get your audit hours a lot faster. I know it's different now, but back then you had to have your audit hours. So I got those quickly and got certified quickly. So it actually worked out great in the long run.
Let's see, what do you like the most in audit?
Is that a trick question? No, just kidding. The thing I liked about audit was going in and seeing the operations of so many different companies in so many different industries. And so my passion was more like tech companies. And so I was able to kind of focus on those firms, but really being exposed to so many different industries, so many different companies, I think actually helped me learn a lot that helped me become an entrepreneur and do my own, start my own companies. So I think it was really helpful in that regard.
Yeah, and so after working in audit for 4 years, you moved to work in the Gateway for 1 year as a senior financial analyst. Is there any reason why you make that move?
Yeah, I was ready to leave public accounting and go into industry, and I had always grown up loving Gateway computers. They're not around anymore, really, to my knowledge, but they would have the cow spotted boxes, so it was just a personal favorite brand. And so then to be able to move to the Midwest and work for such a big fortune company as that was really great. And that's where I would say the Excel skills really started to pay off because in audit, you build your work papers and that kind of a thing. But it was different in industry because I was responsible for building the budget. I was responsible for these monthly reporting packages. And so Excel really became my secret weapon. And so that's where it really started to pay off. My Excel skills started to pay off and really helped me get my work done super fast.
Yeah, I remember when I worked in audit. And so when we went to the client office, we didn't want to bring a lot of stuff like mouse and then equipment. We just bought a laptop. And so my coworker told me that it's better for you to learn how to use Excel and then without using the mouse. So you have to learn all the shortcuts in the keyboard shortcuts. And I think that was so helpful at that moment, and even it is still so helpful for me right now when I can just take advantage of all the shortcuts just because, like, oh, you go to the client office and you already have a lot of things to look at. You don't want to bring mouse and then another screen and then your laptop and then notes, paperwork, try to do everything just in your computer. So I could say that put auditors to be so good in Excel. That's one of the reasons I would say that, because people like, huh, when I move from audit to tax, people always say, wow, Rosie, you're so good at Excel. And I was like, well, for my level in audit, I'm like so only because most auditors is so good in Excel. Oh my god! But you work over there for only a year, and then you move out.
Yeah, we went to the Midwest, my wife and we loved it. It was great, but we wanted to start our family, so we wanted to be close with our parents, and so we came back to the West Coast for that reason. And then that's where I was the accounting manager for a public company, and that's where the Excel skills really started paying off because that monthly close was very stressful and I was overwhelmed by, the first couple of weeks of every month by how much work I had. And as the accounting manager, I had a lot of responsibility for all the closing entries, the journal entries, the financial package, and all of those things. And so by learning how to leverage the power of Excel, I was able to get that monthly close streamlined. And so, it was taking just a couple of days instead of a couple of weeks. And so that's where I was like, wow, Excel is like legit, and I need to be helping people do like what I am able to do. And so I actually wrote an article and just emailed it to the editor of the Journal of Accountancy. And to my surprise, he's like, Jeff, this is great. I'll publish it. And I'm like, what? And so at a pretty young age, I had that first article published for the Journal of Accountancy, and I knew I was onto something. In other words, helping people understand and how to leverage really the power of Excel.
Oh, I would love to see that article. Can you give it?
Yeah, that's on my website. I've since written like dozens of additional articles, but that first one is still on my website, actually.
Yeah, I feel like everything for the first time is always so authentic.
Yes, absolutely. And going back to your keyboard shortcut comment,
Yeah.
I do agree because I see that as a way to communicate with Excel. And I can use my mouse to communicate with Excel or keep my hands on my keyboard. And the speed boost is amazing when you can keep your hands on your keyboard and communicate with Excel so much faster. So you're able to get your work done fast. So those are like not as much appreciated as they should be. And so in each of my courses, I start off by teaching just 5 new keyboard shortcuts at the beginning of every course. So you get a chance to practice with them so that they become second nature. But yeah, totally agree.
I love those keyboard shortcuts. I think I even, like when I was in audit, I even print out the list of shortcuts, put right in front of my desk so I can look at them and then try to practice every single day. So now I'm using a lot of shortcuts. I don't even need to look at that list anymore. And it's just so convenient. I just love it so much. But back to your CPA journey. You work in the as an accounting manager for 2 years, and then you become the president of Click Consulting. That's a jump from accounting manager to president. What leads you to make that jump, and what responsibilities you have to take as the president of the Click Consulting?
Yeah, so that's my own company. I started that company. It was the first company I started. And at the beginning, it was really just focused on Microsoft Excel and Microsoft Access consulting. And that's kind of what it started with. And so what I noticed is that my clients who were hiring me to build custom Excel workbooks and Access and different solutions like that were like, hey, Jeff, can you do like our network too? And Jeff, can you help with our websites too? And so I had to hire staff to be able to give those services. But yeah, we were able to grow. And so that's really where I started the Excel consulting. And then I also started the Excel training journey with that company.
Wow. And so after that, almost 19 years. Oh my God, that's a long time. 19 years working on the Click Consulting. You just want to focus on Excel University Inc. only.
Correct. So at Click Consulting, my kind of main department was the Excel training department. And that was a lot of, well, let me explain. It took me a while to learn how to use Excel effectively, at least a decade of trial and error and mistakes before I really understood how to use it. And then I began this phase of learning how to teach Excel. And so Click Consulting enabled me to really just kind of try to figure out how to teach. So it was through hundreds of live all-day Excel classes all across the country. It was teaching with the AI CPA. It was teaching with Cal CPA, which I know you have some history there. I was also on the OCLB like tech committee and the state committee and all of that. And so it was a lot of teaching live 8-hour CPE sessions. And then all of that kind of, I was like, let me just focus on Excel. So I sold Click Consulting and then I started Excel University, and that's just 100% Excel training. And now this is online on-demand self-service training, not live sessions like back at Click Consulting.
Wow, so that's how you get your freedom. Because it's all online classes, so you don't have to do live every single section. So that's amazing.
Yes. And basically, with my background as a CPA, I spent most of my career trading my hours for dollars in an hourly or billable hour type of relationship. But at Excel University, that switched to more of a product, it's training, so it's like service, but it's a product. So that was a change for me. But what it enabled me to do is pre-record all of my lesson videos as opposed to because with all these hundreds of live sessions, I'm teaching the same thing. I'm saying the same thing over and over and over again. So I'm like, why am I flying to New York and then back to Texas and then over to California to say the same thing over and over? So anyways, I recorded all of the lessons and I spent the time to figure out how to do all that. And then I created this on-demand Excel University, where we, teach how to use Excel. But anyways, going to a product where people pay for access now instead of trading time for dollars created the flexibility. So there's no deadlines, there's no stress for billable hours. It's and I've automated many of the processes at the company, so it's a very flexible lifestyle that the company provides for me.
Wow, that's amazing. That's how you can take advantage of technologies to leverage the technology to just make this product to be so, I would say, easy to use, and also is easy for people to learn and for you to teach as well. So now my question is that because you just teach so many courses in Excel, can you share with my audience about maybe main 5 reasons why people should be so good in Excel? You probably have million reasons, I know. Just focus on top 5 only.
The reasons for wanting to develop your Excel skills? Yeah, so I would say that for me, here's the basic things that it gave to me. One is it gave me a less boring job. In other words, I'm hired to do all these tedious routine tasks, these journal entries, creating financials, all these things. And those are routine, tedious, mundane, manual tasks. But once I was able to think about Excel as a way to delegate those tasks, then I was able to free up my time and do more interesting work and have better opportunities. Second of all, it increased job security because people are afraid of automation. Like, well, you're going to automate yourself out of a job. That's not been my experience. My experience is if I'm the person who knows how to automate the stuff, my job security is increased. The next reason is better annual reviews. I'm not going to lie, when I'm able to go to my annual review and they were able to see how much productivity I was able to bring to the table, my annual reviews were very generous. The next thing is it gave me better opportunities within the company. So, hey, Jeff, I noticed you were able to automate those, those journal entries. Can you help me automate some payroll stuff? Yeah. Hey, Jeff, I noticed you automate the payroll. Can you help me automate commissions? And so my reputation grew and I was able to work on really interesting opportunities. And then lastly, I would say time savings. The most precious resource we have is time. And by being able to get my work done faster, it's been able to allow me to do things with my time that are more like what I choose. In other words, instead of working late nights, instead of working weekends like I used to, now I'm spending my time at family events, spending time with my kids, my wife. We do mountain biking and running and all kinds of things and hanging out with the kids. So I'm able to use my time more the way that I would want to instead of being locked in the office, working late nights and weekends. So those are 5, Rosie.
I absolutely agree with you that for annual performance review, because I just got my annual performance review and people compliment so much about my Excel. I did a giant spreadsheet about 754 step up calculation with so many different tabs for different entities. But what I did is that I color code, I do the link, and then I also use all the Excel formulas that it link all the tabs together. And so people are just so amazed with that skills. But to be honest with you, it's not that much work. So
Well, having those reviews for having Excel skills while you're working is amazing. But I would even suggest, if your audience is listening and they're actually in school still, don't wait to start improving your Excel skills. Like, start right now, because my class is used in a variety of different colleges to teach the Excel component of accounting classes. And the feedback I get is that when these kids are applying for jobs and interviewing, they're much more competitive when they can say they have these Excel skills, like, all the different Excel, like pivot tables, lookups, like all those things, Power Query and all those things. So don't wait to start brushing up on your Excel skills. And if you'd like an easy way to get started, head to get registered for my free Excel Tips weekly newsletter. And you can register by going to excel-university.com/tips, TIPS, excel-university.com/tips. And there you can sign up for the free Excel Tips newsletter or even a free class, and just get started now, because those Excel skills will pay off while you're interviewing and then on in your career.
I think that it's so important when you do, like, yes, when you encourage, but also it shows when you have internships, because I had experience that I trained two different interns. One is good with Excel and one is not good with Excel. Oh, I can tell the difference right away. And whenever we have any work that I need to assign, I seem that I lean more to person who is good at Excel. That's just my experience, and I believe a lot of people probably have the same experience, because they're saying, oh, because this person know how to leverage the Excel, how to get the job done faster. So I strongly recommend that check out the letters that Jeff just mentioned about, the weekly letters, and also get to the Excel skills as soon as you can. It's super helpful for your career growth.
Yes, 100%, 100%.
So because you teach so many Excel lessons, Jeff, what are the most common mistakes that people normally have when they use Excel?
The most common mistakes are going to be, okay, how do I organize these different thoughts? Okay, first thing is not having a dedicated error check worksheet to make sure that everything ties out and is internally consistent. So as a simple example, if I'm creating some financial statements, before I deliver them, I need to make sure cash on the balance sheet ties to the cash on the cash flow. I need to make sure income statement ties to the income. So I need to make sure all these things, assets equal liabilities and equity, so put those on a dedicated error check sheet so that Excel actually helps you with your review as well. And you can use conditional formatting so that it's green and red and that type of thing. But that's one thing, not leveraging Excel's power to help you make sure that everything is accurate. Because once you deliver a report that's wrong, your reputation is a little tainted, and now future reports are a little suspect. So you can't risk delivering something that's inaccurate. So error check worksheets is huge. The next thing is, you need to organize these so that you don't have all these side calculations and random formulas all scattered around, because that's disorganized. It's going to increase the likelihood of errors. And it's also harder for someone to take over the workbook. You may not realize it, but when you create a workbook, like that workbook that you created, when you move to a different role, that workbook will likely stay there doing what it's doing, and someone's going to inherit that and have to take it over. So you owe it to the future staff who are going to be maintaining it to make it as easy and clear and put some instructions as possible. So those are some things. And then the other things is all of these formulas that are custom for each cell, rather than writing consistent formulas that can be filled down and more quickly maintained. And so those are a couple of things that come to mind.
So like when you talk about check the numbers, do you mean that people should have the list of items for them to check every single time, or it's just like self-check in the mind?
Self-check. So for example, on my error check worksheet, the way that I teach is you'd have a line that says something, okay, total assets. And then there's a cell formula that goes to the balance sheet and retrieves the total assets. And the next line is total liabilities and equity. It goes and gets that and pulls it back. It calculates a difference. Difference is 0. If it's 0, green is good. If it's other than 0, it's red. So you have a chance to go review that and fix it before you deliver the reports.